So apparently, folks, Joe Biden is not going anywhere, even as we learn shocking new details about his mental decline. The president huddling with his family over the weekend to do a photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz and to hash out what to do about the avalanche of calls to step aside. They reportedly urged him to stay in the race and want staffers fired for overloading Biden's brain before the debate. Jill and Hunter Biden are said to be the strongest voices in support of staying the course. The first son wants America to see that his father is, quote, scrappy.
Of course they're going to make mincemeat out of the Hunter Biden mention here.
And in command of the facts rather than the stumbling aging president Americans saw on Thursday night. And so far, top Democrats are willing to go to bat for him.
Yes, it was a bad performance. I know when I see what I call preparation overload.
I'm with Joe Biden, and it's our assignment to make sure that he gets over the finish line come November.
We both had a difficult debate, and yet we still managed to go on to win. One debate is not a career.
It is always a bad bet to bet against Joe Biden.
By the way,
I think he's the only Democrat who can beat Donald.
By the way, this level of copium, I'm going to keep repeating this. This level of cope, like, oh, they overloaded him with too much prep. Oh, he was like traveling too much. That level of cope is like literally Donald Trump getting glazed on Fox News level copium.
Donald Trump.
But forget about making it to November. Can Biden even do the job now? White House aides are telling Axios that Joe Biden is dependably engaged from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. And after that, he checks out, prone to absent-minded gaffes and fatigue. But his campaign is doubling down in new ads.
I know how to tell the truth. I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
And the First Lady is defending her husband in a glam new Vogue spread. She says the critics, quote, will not let those 90 minutes define the 4 years he's been president. We will continue to fight. First off, Greg, when your entire party is in meltdown mode, maybe you cancel the Annie Leibovitz family photo shoot.
No, that's too important. That's too important for these people. Dependably engaged. Does that mean he's wearing Depends? I have no idea what that means. And I just worry about the terrorists that are watching right now. It would be very rude for you guys to somehow attack us when he's not dependent.
Yeah, he's talking to the white supremacists. Like, I know this is Greg Buttfeld's attempt at making a joke, but like, why would terrorists be watching your show, man? Like, the only type of terrorists that are watching your ass are literally the Proud Boys and shit. I don't know what to do with this microphone. Oh my God, I'm so mad.
Engaged. So if you can call Canada beforehand, and then we'll get back. Just leave something on our voicemail, because I think it would be rude. You should refrain from attacking us when Joe is not dependably engaged. Remember, the media reacted in horror over Joe's condition, not because they saw it, it's because we saw it. I still think it's the worst scandal in political history. A party and a compliant media protecting a sham government run by a collection of progressive interests, and because they prefer that to democracy. It's just easier this way. And now they're shifting it back to like, well, Trump lies, Trump lies, Trump lies. There's no lie like this. It's not comparison. There's no comparison. And also, it pisses me off when I hear these journalists talking about how they were hoodwinked. This was like the most important job of your life. Breaking a huge story, and you let it go right past you. I mean, this is worse than Watergate. You know, CNN said that every single day. Well, here it is. And they chose Stormy Daniels over this. How can anybody trust the news anymore? I mean, you didn't trust it anyway, but now you know their alliances and their biases prevent them from basically lying.
Okay. I can't believe I'm about to say these words. And this does not pertain to mainstream media on their foreign policy coverage. But the glaringly obvious difference between New York Times and Fox News is precisely what they're pointing to. Fox News never has and never will shit on Donald Trump until Rupert Murdoch gives them the order to do so. New York Times, CNN, and all these other outlets, on the other hand, liberal outlets, on the other hand, will every now and then, perhaps on accident, especially as it pertains to domestic politics, will do like what you understand is objective news coverage. Not to say that they're great, and especially not great when we're talking about foreign policy, but that's a real situation, and you can see it.
300 million people. And look at all the damage that has been done under Joe Biden. Open borders, crime waves, homelessness, open drug markets. This is all products of woke Marxism. So it all flourished under the hood of Biden's presidency. He was the hood ornament, shiny and useless, but meant to run cover for a radical agenda. That is why they're fighting so hard, because they would rather have a headless president and still be in control.
Well, the other thing about it, in addition to all that, is that the news that came out of the family meeting was that they were blaming the staff. And they made it very clear. Somebody called the New York Times from Camp David and said, we blame the people who did the prep. My favorite takeaway, Judge, though, is that there was somebody in the family, one of the grandkids, wants to take on a more active role in the campaign, including working with social media influencers. Like, that's going to do it.
You know, first of all, the idea that they would blame the staff, I mean, think about it. Who else are they going to blame? They're not going to blame Joe or Jill. I mean, of course they're going to blame the staff. And I think it's interesting that Jen Psaki's response to that is, if you're directing anger at the prep for the debate, the aides, you're not addressing the right thing. Mm-hmm. She's got her priorities right. But, you know, the fact that all of those people that we heard from, you know, the senators, and they're basically saying, you know, this guy he's a great president. How can you promote a guy and be honest to your oath to the American people and the Constitution when you know that he is not engaged for more than 6 hours a day? When you actually saw that debate that we all saw, it's more than disingenuous. It is just un-American. This man, and Dana, I go back to what you said. This man has to be prepared at 3 in the morning to answer the question, what do we do now, sir? Okay? And he is not that man. He's not that man at 9 o'clock at night. We saw that. But you can't help but think that the reason the family is so into this is it's a dysfunctional family. 2 of these kids are drug addicts. Hunter Biden ends up sleeping with his dead brother's wife and hooks her on drugs. 9 of the Bidens had tens and hundreds of $1,000s in their accounts because of the work that Joe and Hunter did around the world. So, you know, politics is good business for these people. It's about them and not about us. Jill is so enamored with being the first lady, and every day you see her in these designer dresses, and today on the Vogue cover, a $5,000 Ralph Lauren dress. I mean, she's so into that. She spoke to Joe Biden, and she's the one who I blame this on. Like, after that debate that was cringeworthy and embarrassing, Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. It was like a kindergarten teacher with a bunch of 5-year-olds. And the fact that they're all gaslighting us, I think, is horrible. And I think that Joe Biden, and I say this in the best way that I can, he's a man who attained the top position in this country. He became president of the United States. He deserves, at this point, he loves the beach. He should be at the beach with his family, with his grandkids. But they don't want that. And don't let them tell you that it's about the country, because it's about them. And my last question, who's going to call for the 25th Amendment and who's running the country?
Well, they were supposed to have a cabinet meeting, but that got canceled. I can imagine why. So, Kevin, I have 100,000 questions for you, but I will only ask you a couple. One, the Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago had a piece where they had 45 sources. Many of them were speaking anonymously, and maybe you don't like, maybe we all don't like that, you prefer them on the record, but you can understand why they didn't. And the reporters said, we stand by our story. Their editor said, we stand by our story. The White House and the campaign absolutely trashed the Wall Street Journal and these reporters. Yeah. Only then, a week later, to confirm to Axios that everything in it was true, but to add that the president's only dependably engaged from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I'm just curious about the communication strategy. And also, my other question for you is, it's like the Biden campaign and the people who are in power, Hakeem Jeffries, the people we saw there, are completely disconnected from the rest of the Democrats. Even the left-leaning editorial boards like the New York Times, for example, saying Joe Biden needs to get out. What say you?
I say a few things. Number one, Dana, I think the president campaigned almost as being a transitional figure in the Democratic Party, right? He talked about the next bench of Democrats coming up: Gretchen Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, others. And I think he views Donald Trump as an existential threat to this country, and he believes that he is uniquely situated as the incumbent, as the guy that defeated him 3.5 years ago, as uniquely qualified to do it again. And when you saw the initial impulse was...
That's not a Chiron you want to see. Biden's brain only works 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's not a good Chiron, man.
Maybe to step aside after 4 years and pass the torch. I don't know if Donald Trump wasn't the Republican nominee and leading in the polls, if Joe Biden would be running for a second term, in all seriousness.
Anyway,
Why his butt felt dressed like a toddler? His girlfriend dressed him. That's why. Are you that much better, though, than Buttfeld? Yes. Are you kidding me? First of all, look at what I'm currently wearing. Like, literally. Are you really going to make a comparison? Like, are you crazy? This microphone is so up. It's definitely seen better days.
Number two, the campaign infrastructure is built around Joe Biden. He's raised a record sum of funds, 1,000 field officials, 200 or so field offices open in these battleground states. It's like a cruise ship that Joey was just on. It's so hard to change that midstream. And Dana, you raised the point on Friday, if not Joe Biden, then who? And that alternative might not be in a better position than Joe Biden come November.
Okay, so a couple things that happened today. Politico buried the lead this morning. They had a story about Governor Gretchen Whitmer calling the campaign to say, hey guys, I'm not the one out there promoting my name. I'm not trying to do that. Oh, and by the way, the debate performance guarantees that he cannot win Michigan. Like, well, that was Biden's only path to 270 is if he keeps Michigan. And then in addition, we just got a poll a couple of hours ago that New Hampshire, which Biden won, is now, Trump is up 44-42, and that's consistent over the past 2 months. So how are they thinking that everything's fine and that everyone's just going to move on .org and let this carry on?
I don't think they think it's fine. But like you said, if not Biden, then...
Bro, you can't be talking about how people are coping when you got that hairline. That is a crazy thing, dude. Bro, let it go. Let it go. You're like a relatively handsome guy. Let it go. I don't know what the fuck you're doing here. I don't know who you think you're fooling with this shit. MoveOn.org with this thing, dude. What is going on here?
And I thought about that myself. And there may be a name that I'm completely overlooking here, but I mean, Gavin Newsom, I guess, is the guy who's campaigned for it. He's got a sex scandal of his own that was very public, and he's also the governor of California, so he loses on immigration and economy. So I don't see Gavin Newsom really doing anything to hurt Trump.
Why would he lose on immigration? Does Greg Abbott lose on immigration? What are you talking about? What is the difference between Greg Abbott and Gavin Newsom? One is infinitely more competent when dealing with undocumented migrants. That's the difference. But of course, to Fox News, it's a burden. That's what's really frustrating about Gavin Newsom is that, like, there are a lot of things that you can hit him on. Okay? Homelessness being one of the most significant parts of the conversation. Okay? Born out of the unimaginably up housing market conditions, and Gavin Newsom's direct inability to deal with the problem, deal with the crisis, despite the fact that people keep voting for it over and over again to fix the problem. Those are real issues. Yeah, Gavin Newsom vetoes all labor law. Gavin Newsom vetoes like Medicare for all. Gavin Newsom is, he's not the best by any metric. But it is so insane to be like, yeah, Gavin Newsom, he's weak on immigration. It's like, really? Why? Because he can deal with it? Because he knows that it's not like a real problem, despite having the largest border? Like, what are we talking about? One of the largest border crossings in the nation, by the way. Southern California. Like, what do we mean? What are we talking about? It's massive. So why is it that California doesn't constantly chirp in the same way that Texas does. This should help you understand that this is purely political. Okay? That's it. It's pure politics. And this piece of shit turning around and being like, oh yeah, he's really weak on the border. Like, that's so stupid. Why? Because he doesn't chirp about it nonstop like Greg Abbott does? It's ridiculous.
Trump has an established lead. Kamala, nope. Michelle doesn't want it. She's living a rock star lifestyle. Why would they want to go back to the White House and be kind of almost poor again? Why would they want that? Whitmer, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people in Michigan. I don't know a lot of liberals in Michigan. They're not happy on her. Maybe Jeffries. Maybe Hakeem Jeffries is a...
What do you mean? Ew, Hakeem Jeffries? What? No. He said he doesn't know a lot of people in Michigan, and then he said, I don't know a lot of liberals in Michigan. But they're not happy with her. Gretchen Whitmer is like pretty popular in her state. That's kind of stupid. You just kind of pulled that out of your ass, honestly. Like, this is my favorite type of Fox News commentator who's just like, I don't really know enough about Michigan nor Gretchen Whitmer. But honestly, like, she's not very popular. You just made that up. It is the opposite. Not that it matters, because, you're on a Fox News panel. You can just lie about anything you want.
Where they could throw in there. But
Arabs hate her. Yeah, I don't even know about that. Let's be real. Maybe Dearborn now is sour on her, but like Gretchen Whitmer literally in the immediate aftermath of October 7 was like, well, bipartisanship is important. Both sides. At a time when no one was saying shit like that, she was saying that. Not great on Israel. Yeah, she is, as far as the Democratic Party goes, obviously she's no Rashida Tlaib, she's no Ilhan Omar, she's no AOC. But in terms of like the Democratic Party establishment characters, like, she is even keeled. My expectation is never that she's going to be, based in Palestine pilled.
But it all comes down to this. Joe Biden he's not going to impress voters enough to win over swing voters. He's not going to impress Democrats enough to rally the troops. Their campaign strategy from day one was for President Trump to self-destruct and be the version of himself he was in January of 2020 that they felt like they could run against. And President Trump showed up to the debate and in almost a boring way took all that away. And that's why they're scared. They're not scared because President Biden stood up there and said, my son died in Iraq. He's told that lie 10 times. To hell with the rest of us that fought in those wars.
Damn. He said, you got a phony ass. He said, you got a fake ass dead veteran son. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, bro, burn pits. I was huffing on that shit myself. Let me tell you. I was huffing on them burn pits. I didn't die. L lungs. That's what he said. That's not me. He said that about Beau Biden. He said, L, take the L lungs. Skill issue. I was eating them tires sometimes.
If I go fall down and get killed by a Prius right now because I have prosthetic legs, I didn't die in Afghanistan. I didn't die because of war. I died because something bad happened to me, which is why his son died. And I hate that.
Wait, what? Did he lose his legs in a Prius accident? Wait, what?
They're not scared because President Biden stood up there and said,
what?
My wars. If I go fall down and get killed by a Prius right now because I have prosthetic legs, I didn't die in Afghanistan. I didn't die because of war. I died.
Brother, what are you talking about? What leap of logic, bro? Yeah, the burn pits gave him lung cancer. Like, that is literally officially. Dude, I want to ask this guy, what would he say about first responders? Would you not say that first responders that died due to lung cancer, and other like types of complications post 9/11 were like, diseases related to 9/11? You'd say that like they died because of 9/11? What is he saying? Would he shit on them too? Would he be like, yeah, listen. I know you're a firefighter. Okay? I know you worked on 9/11. I know that you got lung cancer. But you better not say you got lung cancer because of 9/11. You better not. And if you die, I'll spit on your grave. He's saying that if he gets hit by a Prius and can't run away because he has prosthetic legs, it's not because of the war he lost his legs in. Yeah, except that is not analogous because the had cancer, bro. Directly related, as far as I understand, to the burn pits. It's not like he just like randomly got cancer, and a shit ton of veterans have also gotten cancer. What the is he talking about? It's an incredibly idiotic analogy. No, the point he's making is that like his cancer is irrelevant to the Iraq war, and therefore Biden should never bring up the Iraq war when talking about Beau Biden, which is ridiculous. I hate Hunter Biden. I mean, not Hunter Biden. I love Hunter Biden. I hate Joe Biden. Okay? I hate Joe Biden, but it is not that crazy for him to constantly tug on the heartstrings of that shit, because it did happen. His son literally died. Like, what are you talking about? And shit ton of veterans also got cancer due to the burn pits. Like, yeah, your disabilities are not service related is like, yeah, you're right. It's literally a meme. So why is he assuming the stance of like the VA here? That's pretty crazy. He's like, not 100% coverage for you. Let me tell you, Bo. Okay. It would be, I think it would be, I guess like more of a, like it would be a better take if it wasn't such a contested issue that like recently veterans got gains for. Okay. This is a stupid take. Move on, please. Also, he's one of the few political sons to join the military. Yeah. Still virtue signaling even on a remote island. Broadcast can't even get a decent mic stand. You. I know you're trying to serve the top of the hour ad break Javay right now, but respect. That was pretty good. Virtue signaling. He cooked my ass, dude. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ban you, though, because that's a two-parter, okay? Rules are rules. Hater-ass messages are not. Virtue signaling. I haven't heard that in a minute. What's a two-parter mean? At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Sometimes chatters try to get me to read their messages so they can make me, so they can turn around and bait me into reading their messages so they can be like, oh, 3-minute ad break, gotcha. So they can serve the 3-minute ad break instead. Now, of course, this doesn't always work. Sometimes chatters do two-parters like that one, trying to piss me off, get me to read their message so they can, when I click on them like this, they can go, oh, top of the hour ad break. Those are two-parters. Instead of hitting me with a debate in the singular message and trying to get me to read it, they try to hit me with a two-parter. Like they say, bad take, I click on it, and then they turn around and go, ad break. That type of shit. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Take an hour off. The only reason why I'm banning bad baiters, because I want you to be better. Okay? R.I.P. to Tree Moss. Gone but not forgotten.
Because something bad happened to me, which is why his son died, and I hate that for him. But when he's willing to tell lies like that in a campaign debate that is for his career, that means he's either not with it or completely thinks the rest of us are stupid.
I don't have the heart to ban two-parters for a week, dude.
Maybe it's a little bit of both, but he's not going to get elected that way.
Can I ask you one last question about these
terrorist
threats that are announced against U.S. bases in Europe, and you have this comes a day after the White House on background tells, or maybe the campaign aides, tells a major news organization that he's only dependably engaged between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to fact check it, but I saw right before I came on, someone tweeted that the Abbey Gate bombing happened at 9:30 a.m.
It did. It was on America's Newsroom.
Okay,
yeah.
So 9:30 a.m., the worst attack in the last two presidencies on our troops. Maybe it should have happened a half an hour later and he would have been able to do something. That's what bothers me about this. You can't wake him up in the middle of the night and get enough meds in him to get a decision out of him. So whoever the second and third shift president is, I hope you're watching and paying attention in case we are attacked.
Dana, can I just add to that? We're talking about Joe's fitness. We're talking about the election. That's 5 months away.
Right.
He's unfit to be president now.